welcome to another episode of Clicked, where we sit down with some of Deltek's best and brightest SDRs and find out what makes them so successful. Today, I'm really excited because we are joined by Grenny Sanchez, who is actually on my team, on the consulting team here at Deltek. Grenny, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Holly, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm really excited because your journey here at Deltek has kind of not really been the norm. So you've had a lot of challenges, you've had a lot of obstacles that you've overcome, and you've still found a lot of success in your time here. So talk to the SDRs today listening about some of the challenges that you faced and what core attributes that you've built through your time here as an SDR that you really feel like have helped you get over those obstacles and still find success.
Yeah, so when I started out as an SDR, that was in February of 2020. So it was a brand new team based in Tampa. We were actually the first 2 employees hired here for the Tampa office. And prior to that, there wasn't a dedicated established team for the consulting space. And so we were kind of trusted and charged with finding a lot of the best practices and nuances that comes with developing out a new space. On top of that, there was also a month later, a pandemic happened. And so we were all, started working remotely, and as did most of the prospects that we were calling into. And so I quickly realized that, the best way to make the best of this is having organization and being gritty. And by organization, I mean just managing my time better, because we realized that there were a lot of people that weren't in office. We were calling and it was either gatekeepers or just answering machines. I would be telling you, hey, no one's in office because of the pandemic. And so just finding out the best times to call, the best times to email, and being the most efficient in order to get as many connects as we could at that time. And that requires a lot of organization on our part as well. And then just the being gritty, again, just pushing through, the number of calls that we would make that we would never get somebody else to answer on, or even just the rejection and the uncertainty that was around that time because of the pandemic. I think that's just really important to push through all that. And so if I didn't have tough skin before, I certainly do now.
Definitely. Yeah, you definitely grow it in this type of role for sure. So you're taking a little bit of a different path and you're moving over to our DGC side, which is our Deltek Global Consulting role. And you're still going to be supporting our Vantage Point products. But talk to me, what are some of the things that you've learned here as an SDR that you're going to be taking with you as you go to that DGC side?
Yeah, I think there were several things that I know that the leadership over at DGC shared with me that they really liked about me that I identify as things that I was able to gain from my time in the SDR role. I think that working under pressure, that's something that I was exposed to more than any job I ever previously had. There's a lot of pressure, to hit your quota, hit activity, hit your KPIs, and not in a bad way at all. There's just those metrics that you have to complete. And so keeping that in mind, and when you're going through your day and having all those rejections, that does play at you. And so that requires a lot of flexibility and resiliency. You come across situations where you're going to have to know how to answer questions that you don't know the answer to, and speaking to people that have never heard of Deltek or don't know what an ERP is, and instilling trust in them. And then the other thing too was I learned how to actively listen. I knew what listening was. I had taken notes on it before, but I think this job, more than any other experience I've ever had before, really showed me the importance of how crucial it is to actively listen in every situation, because that's going to make you more natural and just more successful all around.
Yeah, and that's good advice. And I think that's great for even our new hires that are coming in as well. Other than that, what else for our new hires that we're seeing start in these new cohorts coming in as you're coming out? What advice would you give them as they're going through this program?
The 3 things that I always tell any new hire is hold yourself accountable. You want to make sure that your activity is never a reason that a manager or a peer points out as to the reason why you're not hitting your quota. You also want to build your brand very early on. As soon as you can, you want to make sure that you're that person that is resilient, that's reliable, that's known for hitting quota and having high activity, and also just being a team player. And then the other thing is just keeping your eye on the prize, because there will be hard days, there will be hard weeks and months, and the thing that will keep you going through it is your eye on the prize, whether you want to be an account executive one day, a consultant, or maybe you don't know what it is. You want to make sure that you always know why you started out in the first place.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, your why is definitely one of those things that can help drive you over to the end. So I definitely agree there. So you've been in this role now for 18 months. Tell me, when did it all just click?
I would say probably around month 11. I think it sounds kind of scary. There was a lot of improvement before that, but as I've heard a lot of sales professionals, there's always room for improvement, and it's an ever-going process. And so I think that in January, I always pick that as a time when I started finding more of my groove with my team, and also with my permanent manager, you, Holly. When you came in and just working with you, there was just a lot more strategy and planning behind all of our processes. We were piloting new initiatives, and we were also seeing a lot of the nurturing that we had to do the year prior come back around for us. And so it's kind of like good karma. There was also a lot of restorative hope in that the economy would improve in regards to the pandemic. And so I think that's when we saw a lot more consistent success.
Yep, I would agree with you. It's definitely been a fun year for us, and I think we've definitely gone through some trials and tribulations as a team, but seeing the continued success and honestly just seeing the team kind of grow to what it is now, it's been really inspirational, and you've been a big pinnacle part of that. So we're excited for you. We're excited for your growth. Sad to see you go, but really, really excited to see what you do here in the future.
Thank you so much, Holly. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for being here today. And thank you everyone else for joining us for another episode of Clicked. We'll catch you next time.